Everything.
No.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's mine.
That ain't yours.
Just because you think you special around here.
Huh?
God, dog.
You know, often I talk about how easy these engines are to find. And people probably ask questions like, well, yeah, you say that, but where are you getting them from? How are you finding them? So today, we're gonna be going to look at a 351 Windsor and a 75 F100. Now, we have a little hookup on engines. In other words, like 302s, 4.6s, occasionally a 351 Windsor. You can still find these engines locally. You just gotta know where to look. And today we're gonna head over, we're gonna look at one of my honey holes. We gotta get started on this thing too, by the way, y'all. At some point here soon. Oh, shit. I just noticed the window is down. That's not, it smells dry. I know that local scrap yards and pick and pulls and things like that are kind of going away, but they're still out there and you just got to know where to look. What the hell is that? I don't know. It's weird. So sometimes these engines and cars and stuff are in the places like you would least expect them to be. And that's just the way it is sometimes. I know for me, if I go around to, you know, places that I expect to have stuff like that, if they do have it, for one thing, you're gonna pay out the ass for it. And the other thing is most of the time they don't even have them anyway. So we have to kind of look outside of the normal places. And I think you'd be surprised. And you can still get these things relatively cheap, okay? It's because a lot of the scrap yards and a lot of these junk yards, if you will, pick and pulls like I was talking about earlier, have kind of gone away. People just don't have them anymore like they used to. I don't know if it's insurance reasons. I know the cash for clunkers kind of killed a lot of that stuff as well. But for us guys out there looking for 302s and 351s, they're still there. The biggest thing is you have to know where to look. And that's hard sometimes. And how you decide where to look is you start asking around. You ask people, you know, friends of friends of friends, and say, hey man, do you know anywhere where I can get an engine from? And a lot of times what happens is you run across somebody with a connection and you think you're just going to get an engine, and then you realize, oh shit, man, they constantly have cars coming in and out up here. So at that point, you may have your connection. You may have your guy that you can go to. So did I give you an answer of where to search? No, not really. But in the most unsuspecting areas is a tip I would give you. Ask around and you would be surprised. Oh man, that's cool. You don't see those out and about very much. Man, that thing looks pretty cool, man. Look at that. All right, here we are, our secret spot. What is this spot, you might ask? Well, it's essentially a crushing yard. This is where they crush all their vehicles. And there's always good stuff. Look, there's an F-150 over there. I actually might need those wheels. But they're in the process of crushing right now. And this is where you can find really cool stuff. So I'm gonna go out here and holler at the guys real quick. And then we're gonna get started and we'll look around. Oh man, I got to get the motor and all out of it. Everything.
No.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's mine.
That ain't yours.
Just because you think you special around here.
Huh?
God, dog.
Ask around and find out if there's any local crusher near you and get up with those guys and head out there, because they don't advertise this stuff. They're just here to crush cars, right? That's where the money is. But look, right over there is an Explorer. You see what I'm saying? They're everywhere. All this stuff, you need parts, you need seats for your Fox body. You'd be surprised at what seats will actually fit in your car. So come out here to one of these spots and look around. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pop the hood on this truck. Try not to get snake bit or stung by any wasp. Let's see what we got. That is a 351 for sure. So you can always tell with a 351, because sometimes visually, like the intakes, you can't really tell how wide they are. There's a ridge right here on the block and you can't see it because of this fuel line. Move it out of the way. See that? That's how you can tell if it's a 351 or not, because the 302s aren't built that way. Also, there's a big difference in the height of where the distributor sits against the intake right there. It kind of sits down in a hole. So there's this another 351 that can be, hey, it can be a 351 Windsor with heads and cam, or it can be a 408. It can be whatever you want it to be. So there you go. And see, most people would never know that this truck's sitting back here. Now it's a long wheelbase, so a lot of people will overlook trucks like this, but there's all kinds of parts that'll still work on your vehicle off these. Say you got a short bed or something. All right, let's see. Whew. Okay. All right, make sure there ain't no creepy crawlies in here because we're gonna be all up in this thing. Look at the speakers. Okay, I don't see anything crawling around. I'm a little, look guys, I grew up in the woods and in the country, but as I've gotten older, man, I ain't trying to let this be my last day on earth because I wasn't paying attention or cautious. We need this cluster for Pop's truck, and it looks like it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get to work, get this out, and then we'll walk around the yard and see what else is out here.
Go where the crushers go, past the places people don't know, out behind the weeds and gravel roads, where old dreams sit row by row, a dusted 302, winds are waiting on you, big blocks sleeping.
I went ahead and got a couple of extra things while we were here. So I got this climate control unit, just in case, you never know. Like, these are things you need to get if you're here. Also, if it, like the vehicle's going to be crushed, you know, go ahead and pull stuff like that out. We got another bezel because you never know, even though it's got holes and stuff in it, you kind of hate to throw this type stuff away. And then we got our cluster over here. You got to be very careful with these things because if you bump them too hard, they will come apart on the inside. Trust me, I know. All right, pack up our stuff. Got our stuff done. Look at this over here. See, this is the type of stuff that you can find at your local crusher. And typically they're just looking for weight. So you can come by and offer a price for this. And typically if it's better than what they would have got for crushing it, sometimes you can get it, sometimes not. It just depends on the yard itself. But look at this stuff. Man, no telling if the engine's good in it or not. Obviously got some issues. All right, this is an EcoBoost over here. So there's a lot of stuff on this truck that would work on my truck. I wanted the wheels, but now that I look at them, they're all scratched up. That'd be a good wheel option for my truck. And if I could get them cheap enough, I might would sand them down and re-clear them, paint them. The other thing that you got to keep in mind is not so much, you know, an engine that'll work in your car or something like that. A lot of times it's going to be interior stuff. So not that you would want these seats, but this is just a good example. Like these seats would work in a Fox body. Pretty much any seat will work in a Fox body. You just have to adapt it, but it's not hard to do. And look at that, more seats. There again, I don't like these seats, nor would I use them, but if you can find the little BMWs and Mercedes, even the older ones, they typically have some really nice seats. Hey, these wouldn't be too bad. Also, electric fans. These can come in real handy. You can also kind of take these out of their shroud too if you needed to. Like cut the center section of it out and make them fit. I'm telling you guys, if you're on a budget, find you a scrap yard, find you a crushing yard, something like that, and go look around. I mean, I understand we all know about scrap yards, but they're getting hard to find. So I'm gonna go over here, talk to the guys real quick, and we'll pick back up in a minute. We got our parts for Pop's truck. We're gonna go ahead and get them out. I'm not even gonna bother polishing it up. I'm just gonna go throw it on, whatever. Oh, look at Pop's truck getting used, by the way, over here. I'm gonna get this off. We're gonna go ahead and pop this new one in and see if it fixes the cluster. Cross your fingers, y'all. Alternator lights on. Why do I not have power up here though? That makes no sense. Like the other board worked. So maybe I'm gonna go inside, swap this board around, and then just see if that's, I doubt that's it, honestly. I really do. Same exact thing happened the first time with Pop's cluster. I pulled it out and it was just like one gauge that just wasn't kind of acting right. So I wanted to pull it apart and fix it and tweak it, and then nothing worked. Well, guys, we had the fuel gauge working, which was really what we needed the most, and then a speedometer. The blinker's not really a big deal, but I wanted to try to make it work. So these gauges, I don't know if, I'm sure some of you know, yeah, they make connections through little wires, and you can't see it, but there's a little wire sticking in that hole back there that kind of clamps around the back side of this stud, and the other one that's missing. That's kind of how these things make a connection. So maybe I can pull this thing apart and maybe try to like solder it or something like that, but otherwise I got to buy all new gauges for this thing. Other than that, guys, I think that's pretty good. But remember, the biggest takeaway from this video is get out there and ask around. See if you can't find some of these crushers, some of these scrap yards, maybe somebody that just has old cars parked in their backyard. See if you can go out and look and buy some parts off of them. Ask around, get online, find out like if there's anybody crushing cars around your area, get in contact with them. And if they can't sell you parts, they can at least tell you where some of these places like I just went to exist, and you can find really good parts at really good prices because they're basically just going to crush these things. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and as always, thanks for watching.
Used to be a junkyard down on Miller Road, chain link fence and a rusty gate old Joe would always hold. Had Fox bodies in the back row, trucks lined up for miles. Could pull a Windsor out on Saturday, leave there with a smile. But the gates all closed and the signs came down. Another piece of old steel town. Folks say, boy, those parts are gone, but I just grin and roll on. Cause if you know the right old number or the man behind the wheel, there's still treasure in them backwoods fields. Go where the crushers go, past the places people don't know, out behind the weeds and gravel roads, where old dreams sit row by row. A dusted 302, winds are waiting on you. Big blocks sleeping underneath the rust and overgrowth. Everybody says they're gone, but buddy, they don't know. Sometimes salvation rides shotgun where the crushers go.